made $30 million playing the most famous dwarf in television history. Then he disappeared into the woods of upstate New York with a woman the world barely knows and 2 children whose names he's never revealed. This is the story of how Peter Dinklage built a fortress around the one thing Hollywood couldn't buy, his peace. But that fortress came at a cost no one expected. It was early 2003, snow falling over Manhattan. Someone said, "They're walking the elephants through the Queens Midtown Tunnel." The circus was in town, and as Peter Dinklage stood watching a line of elephants march through the city streets in the snow, he met the woman who would change everything. Her name was Erica Schmidt. She was a theater director, brilliant, passionate, uninterested in Hollywood. Unlike most people in their profession, where film is the ultimate goal, theater was sacred to her, not entertainment, art. And Peter, he was a struggling actor who just started gaining recognition from the station agent, still taking the subway, still uncertain if his big break would ever come. But that night, the night the elephants walked through Manhattan, something clicked. 2 years later, in 2005, they eloped to Las Vegas. No publicists, no magazine deals, no photographers. "I was going there for a charity event," Dinklage later recalled. "And then, while we were there, we just decided to do it. It was a bit lonely. We got a VHS video cassette of the wedding that no one will ever see, that we've buried in a box deep beneath the Earth's core." That's who Peter Dinklage is. A man who got married in Vegas and buried the only footage, because some moments aren't for the world to see. Then came Tyrion Lannister. 2011 Game of Thrones premiered, and Peter Dinklage became an international phenomenon. 4 Emmys, a Golden Globe, $1.2 million per episode by the final season, over $30 million from the show alone. And that same year, he and Erica welcomed their first child, a daughter. The world wanted to know everything: her name, her face, whether she inherited his condition. Peter gave them nothing. To this day, her name has never been publicly confirmed. Internet rumors claimed she was named Zelig after a Woody Allen character. Peter's response? "Let me tell you right now, her name is not Zelig." But it's hilarious that that's a fact in Wikipedia. I don't care. He didn't care, because correcting it would mean engaging with a world he was actively trying to escape. Erica later described what life was like during peak Game of Thrones fame. "We lived in Chelsea for a while, and we had a dog, a very big dog that had to be walked a lot. And this was probably season 3 of Thrones. And he started walking down the street, and all of these people came. I don't know where they were coming from the restaurants. And it was like 30 people. You know, Peter, Tyrion coming towards him. Because of his short stature," she said, "it's hard for him to hide. He can't put on his sunglasses and a hat and disappear." So they made a choice. They left. Deep in the Hudson Valley, between Rhinebeck and Millbrook, lies their sanctuary, a restored 19th century farmhouse on acres of rolling land, exposed wood beams, stone fireplaces, gardens, a serene pond, rescued horses roaming freely. This is where Peter Dinklage, one of the most recognizable actors in the world, chose to live. "I live in New York, and I have a little place in the woods where I tend my garden," he told The Guardian. "I like privacy. Most mornings, neighbors see him biking through tree-lined streets, stopping for coffee with his daughter before school. On weekends, the family walks trails, hands dirty in the garden. He's been vegetarian since his teens, recently adding fish and chicken while filming in Croatia, but still no red meat. Friends joke he's easier to find at a farmer's market than a film premiere. When he's home, he cooks hearty meals from what's fresh, lentil stew simmering on the stove, herbs from the garden, a glass of wine shared with Erica over quiet conversation. In 2017, they welcomed their second child, a son. Again, no announcement. The world only knew because Erica showed up to a play premiere with a baby bump. A few months later, photographers caught them at a concert with a newborn. The child's name never revealed. The gender confirmed years later, barely. Peter's philosophy is simple. "I am so protective of everything that society has to offer, especially if I am in it." His daughter spent years in Ireland while he filmed Game of Thrones. Attending school there, she developed an Irish accent. She rode scooters through New York with her dad, wearing massive red earmuffs to protect her from the cold. But but you'll never see her face clearly. Peter makes sure of it. "People mean well," he said in one interview, "but when you're walking down the street with your kid and people take your picture without asking," he trailed off, the frustration clear. He doesn't want his children's childhoods archived on TMZ. He doesn't want them growing up knowing their every move is documented, because he knows something most famous people forget. Fame isn't freedom. Privacy is. But Peter and Erica aren't just husband and wife. They're artistic partners. In 2021, Erica wrote and directed a modern musical adaptation of Cyrano de Bergerac, and she cast Peter in the lead role, a character traditionally defined by a large nose, now redefined by Peter's stature. Peter said, "Maybe I could read it," Erica admitted. "Now, when your life partner is a massive celebrity who everyone knows, there is a way in which everything becomes all about him. So I have to be frank and say I was a little resistant, but she cast him anyway. And Peter, he begged for the role." Begged? Yeah. I mean, essentially, yes, that's true. For an actor, you always want to do something that, for me at least, that scares you. I just never had sung since I was a kid. The result was a critically acclaimed film in 2022. Not a blockbuster, not a franchise, just a beautiful, intimate story about love and insecurity. The kind of work that matters more than money. Peter could have chased Marvel sequels and $20 million paychecks. Instead, he chose projects that resonated. Wicked as Dr. Dillamond in 2024. Dexter, Resurrection in 2025 as billionaire Leon Prater. Smaller films like Roofman and The Toxic Avenger. Always interesting, never predictable. Because for Peter Dinklage, fulfillment isn't measured in zeros. It's measured in the quiet power of a story told right. And through it all, Erica has been there. Not as Peter Dinklage's wife, as Erica Schmidt, acclaimed theater director, Drama Desk, and Lucille Lortel Award nominee, the artist of the family. "She's very inspiring," Peter said. "She's definitely the artist of the family. I am just the TV actor who pays the bills." He's being modest, but that's the point. In their marriage, they don't compete, they support. But in January 2022, from his quiet farmhouse, Peter Dinklage made one comment that would shatter the peace he'd built.
I was a little taken back by they're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow White,
yeah.
Seven Dwarfs.
Sure.
So, look, take a step back and look at what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I know. That makes no sense to me.
Well,
you're progressive in one way, but you're still making that backward story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man?
Dylan Postal and Chun Tan, both actors with dwarfism, appeared on British TV. Tan called Dinklage's move selfish and hypocritical. Postal said he's taking dream roles away that were set in stone for 7 dwarf actors. Those checks cashed just fine when he was playing little people in Elf and Game of Thrones. The irony was brutal. Peter Dinklage built his entire $30 million fortune playing roles written specifically for actors with dwarfism. Tyrion Lannister, Miles Finch in Elf, Trumpkin in Narnia, and now, from his position of wealth and privilege, he'd spoken out against other dwarf actors taking the same opportunities. Now, to be fair, his critique had merit. The 1937 Snow White does portray dwarfs as miners living in a cottage, serving Snow White's story. Hollywood has a long history of exploiting actors with dwarfism. But here's the question: should one successful actor have the power to shut down opportunities for an entire community, or should those 7 actors have been given the choice? Dylan Postal put it perfectly. It's one person representing a community, unfortunately. One person waving that red flag and saying, "Hey, what are we doing here?" And everyone coming to a halt before talking to the whole community. And through it all, Peter stayed silent. No follow-up, no clarification, no acknowledgement that his comments may have hurt the community he claimed to defend. He went back to his farm, his family, his next role.
Fuck you, Peter Dinklage. Piece of shit.
That's real heat, too.
Fucking hate him. He costed so many people in my community jobs with that Snow White bullshit. Pisses me off.
Don't you also hate Hugh Grant?
Why?
Didn't the Oompa Loompa thing? Isn't that a thing?
He did make a comment That's not as bad. Fuck Peter Dinklage. Like,
Fortress remained intact. So who is Peter Dinklage? Really? He's a man who met his wife the night elephants walked through Manhattan, who eloped in Vegas and buried the footage, who named his children names the world will never know. He's a man who turned down stereotypical roles when he was starving, who built a $30 million fortune but chose a farmhouse over a mansion. He's a husband who calls his wife the artist of the family while he collects Emmys, a father who won't let his kids visit him on set because he wants them to have normal lives. He's a vegetarian, a gardener, an animal rights advocate who's donated over $2 million to causes he believes in. And he's also a man who, from a position of privilege, made one comment that cost 7 people their jobs. His intentions may have been good, but the impact was undeniably harmful. He raised a valid critique, but he did it without consulting his peers, without considering the economic realities of working actors, without offering a solution. And when Disney overreacted, he didn't speak up again to fix it. That's the complexity of Peter Dinklage. He's not a villain. He's not a hero. He's a man who fought for the right to be seen as human, not a stereotype, who built a beautiful life away from the noise, who protects his family fiercely. But in trying to protect his community from stereotypes, he may have protected them right out of their paychecks, away from scripts, awards, and red carpets. Peter Dinklage has found what many chase and few ever catch: a life that fits, quiet abundance, steady calm, a wife who inspires him, children whose names the world doesn't know. That's the fortress he built. And maybe in the end, that's all any of us are trying to do. Build something real, protect what matters, and live on our own terms, even when the world doesn't understand. What do you think? Did Dinklage's fight for dignity cost other actors their dreams? Or was he right to speak up, even if it backfired? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you felt the weight of this story, the love, the privacy, the complexity, hit that like button and subscribe, because fame, principle, and family are rarely as simple as they seem.